What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Officer Nate podcast. It has been a hot minute since I have done a podcast episode, but I have joining me a couple of cool dudes from TikTok, Brian Carlson and Zachary Venable. They are a couple of what I would call prominent creators on TikTok. I don't know if you guys like that word creator, if you like that title or not, but that's what I'm going to call you for now. But we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Zach and I are going to go live on TikTok. We wish Brian could join us, but he got banned again, not surprisingly. All right. All right, Zach, I am live. I'm going to. Which account are you going to use, Zach?
Official Merch Daddy, I guess. Let me see. I don't even know if I can get on that. Yeah, I should be able to use that one.
Let me see if.
Oh, and I lost the pill. I just saw it. Lost the pill of me.
Did you really?
Yeah. Well, I have Brian Carlson 4, but that's
Did it say why? Did it say why you were suspended?
No, it never does.
Turn your audio up, bud.
What's up, Pammy Sue?
Brian,
Can you not hear me?
just turn it a little louder.
Zach, I don't see you on the live list here.
Hold on. You don't have a producer, dude? Well, I guess should have let you borrow Rocco real quick.
I'm not that cool. I used to be once upon a time.
Yeah. Should have let you borrow Rocco real quick. Okay. All right. I'm logged in.
I still don't see you.
Do I need to go live?
Yeah, go live, and then I'll add you as a co-host.
There's gonna be a delay.
Sorry, folks. We're getting this figured out. I want to talk about all the TikTok drama, as Merch would call it. I'm referring to Zach as Merch because that's what I'm used to calling him. His name, one of his names on TikTok is Official Daddy Merch,
Which I'm changing to this afternoon.
What are you changing it to?
I'm gonna let everyone else pick.
Oh,
And whoever gets the most likes wins.
Oh, really?
really?
Yeah. Yeah, Brian. Maybe change it to Brian Carlson.
Brian Carlson.
Brian Carlson.
What's up, Shannon? Oh, look, Brian's in here. View only.
Yeah. I can
Dude, that's so stupid how we planned this literally like 2 hours ago, and then you get banned from going live on TikTok.
Yeah.
All right, there you are. Okay, there you are, Merch. Okay, I sent you the invite. Oh, here we are. Okay. Let me turn this down so it doesn't echo into my other mic. All right. So we got me and Merch on TikTok. We got me, Merch, and Brian on YouTube and Facebook. So I just want to point out that I got Brian Carlson before getting Brian Carlson was cool.
Patent pending the name. It says it's trademarked. By the way, if you go look on Urban Dictionary, you can see it.
So, okay. So there's obviously some people that are going to be confused. Merch, why don't you explain to everybody what getting Brian Carlson means?
Okay. Basically, long story short, what getting Brian Carlson mean is when you may or may not be involved in a toxic relationship, nothing that no one has not been in at one point in their life. And then that relationship goes sour, and then you come across an enemy, be it a woman or a man, and they find maybe a post or something written from that ex about you, and then they go digging, and that woman or man who dislikes you uses every ex that you've had in your past to try and go after you. Could be false accusations of SA or abuse. Kind of, there's just different variations of it. I mean, you can get Brian Carlson in terms of all your ex coming out saying that you're awful at basketball. But it's basically your exes or women you've encountered in the past or men coming together with a coach who's coaching them through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally speaking.
Well, my Brian Carlson experience didn't have anything to do with a former, jilted lover or anything like that. Mine was obviously a lot different, but I feel like the process of Brian Carlsoning someone is pretty much the same. Like they dig into your personal life, they dox you, they try to come up with things that they think might embarrass you or might humiliate you. You know,
Yeah,
that happened to me
anything.
last year.
They'll use anything. Look, if you got a speeding ticket when you're 17, they'll say that you're a danger behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I've seen. I mean, with Brian especially, I've seen any and everything used. I'm still waiting. So I got into a situation whenever I was 14 where I allegedly stole a box of cookies from Walmart, and I had a little run in it with the security guards there. So I'm waiting for that to come out, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So shout out to Trey Jolin on TikTok. Tracy, she made this shirt, and I feel like this is probably one of the best shirts that has ever been made because. I mean, literally, this account that I'm on, this current TikTok account, is on its last leg, and it could be any second. So if the TikTok live gets shut down, it's because of me. So if that happens, feel free to join us over on YouTube or Facebook at Officer Nate. But I mean, I'll try and avoid all of the buzzwords that tend to get people banned on the TikTok. But so Brian and Zach, you guys have
There's some
sort of
feedback.
a mutual. What's that?
Is there feedback? Does someone have the volume
Mine's
up?
pretty well muted, I think.
It might be Marge.
Um,
Okay, sorry.
I feel like you guys have a love triangle going on with Savannah.
Yeah. Well, she loves us both. I mean, I think she's got the hots for both of us.
You guys got doxxed by her like hardcore. I mean, the only thing I know about her is she's like a pharmacist in Mississippi, but apparently she has so much time in her hands that she can literally dig into y'all's personal lives and like even find photos from years ago to put in her videos that she does about y'all.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, well, yeah. But March and I, we both were guilty of going viral, as you were, in the TikTok land. And once you kind of are guilty of going viral, speaking out against cancel culture, that's when they all come out of the woodworks and all these accusations of being whatever they can throw at you. And so, and she's the dirtiest of them all, by far. So,
Dude, she's the worst, man. Like
she is.
whenever I see her on a video talking, and I don't want to be too graphic here, but it makes me homicidal.
Yeah.
Like literally, like just I'm like, oh God, here we go. And like what is she talking about now? Like
Well,
she talks like she's trying to eat her own face,
yeah.
and it,
Well, if you notice, like the people on this left, the far left, the first step that they do is they try to dehumanize the person, right? So they
oh yeah,
absolutely dehumanize you, and then they are justified in anything they do. All right. So you get people like in the comments, and you have all gotten them, where they say the most vile, hateful things that you've ever heard
Mhm.
directed at someone, and they still think that they are the good guy because they have done such a good job at dehumanizing you.
Go to
Legally.
YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I can mute myself.
Um. So, anyways, yeah, and she's the best at it. I mean, she really is. So she does a really great job. So
I haven't had the pleasure of being the target of, Savannah's cancel culture efforts. You guys have though. I mean, I got targeted by a couple of other, big. I would say,
Izzy,
yeah. Tizzy and Aunt Karen, and
yeah.
I think even Modern Warrior, who I thought was a woman for the longest time. Uh,
Well, th-
until, but
th-
so Zach, I think, is the expert on that. I've seen several of Zach's videos on the
did you?
Modern Warrior Chelsea drama.
Yeah, did you? Okay, did that even hit your radar?
Oh yeah, I saw a bunch of your videos you did on that.
Oh no, I know for a fact that I hit everyone's radar. I'm talking about like Aunt Karen making a video about you. Like, did that hit your radar?
And Karen made it, well, at least one video that I know of, when my original count that had almost 600,000 followers was banned literally on July 4th of last year. And so I created a backup, which I should have done already, but I created a backup, and I made a video, basically explaining, hey, my original account got banned. Email, TikTok, what you do when you want to get your account restored. Well, Aunt Karen came across that video and told me, that I got banned because I was racist and I was a corrupt cop, and I did a couple of response videos to her video, but that eventually died out. But I don't understand how these, like Tizzy and Aunt Karen, how they have so many followers. It kind of shows me that there are way more ignorant, foolish people in the world than there are people with common sense.
Yeah. Well, it's like the gladiator games, right? It's like the public execution. It's like people slowing down because they want to see the carnage on the side of the road. It's kind of a sick thing. They want to see people get destroyed. It's this. To me, that's just kind of what I think, and that's why they're so popular. Is you get this, this group.
Well,
Yeah.
that's how they got to this level. So it goes back, and because of recent events, and I'm not at liberty to speak about one or two individuals because of legal reasons. So I'm not going to name names.
That's understandable. It's fine.
But it started with the virus. They all kind of went viral at the same time for calling out people that were spreading, misinformation, whatever at the time you'd want to call it, about the virus, and then they would destroy their life. And then it got picked up on a couple of news, articles, stuff like that, and they got a lot of attention. And then they rode that for about a year. And then as it kind of dissolved, their audience started kind of not paying attention. Then they started going after just regular, Brian, for example, because Brian would clap back a video. They started using their following that they built off of the vaccine stuff. I'm sorry, the virus stuff. They started using that as a vehicle to basically bully whoever goes against them. I mean, hell, if you make fun of him, Brian made fun of him. That's basically what started it with him.
Hmm.
I mean, you can trace it back to one video. Brian basically said, like, "This is absurd what this person's doing," like,
Yeah.
and that's all it took. I mean, it literally is what
It's an admin
happens.
video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's what happens whenever you give the wrong people, some level of power. I call it personally the reverse Captain America. So Captain America basically got the super soldier serum because they thought that he had no knowledge of what it was like to be strong his entire life. So that whenever he did get muscles, he wouldn't abuse it. And it's like, in reality, that's not how it works. If you take a guy who's been picked on their entire life and then give him a super soldier serum, they're gonna abuse that power because they've been picked on their whole life. So the idea of Captain America is completely unrealistic when you think of it like that. And that's how I look at it. It's a reverse Captain America, and that's all that's what we see, and it's only getting worse. Well, I mean, I say it's getting worse. It's slowed down significantly. Significantly. I mean, what, Brian? Like I don't know, 4 months ago, they had people getting deoxed like 3-4 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Um,
I think that's exactly what it is. I mean, that's them in a nutshell. I mean, look at that Dinesh guy, right? The guy's a failed comedian. No success whatsoever. He
The
found a
guy's
little trouble.
he's a comedian, like self-proclaimed.
He's a failed comedian. Like he tried to go big. It was horrible. If you've ever watched the stuff, it was so cringy. I guess he was like a Carnival Cruise Line comedian, and these people are all like want to be news reporters or want to be actresses or actors or whatnot. Like take Aunt Karen for example, or Tizzy, same thing. They want to be famous, and they found an outlet and how to do it, and that's destroying people's lives. So
Well,
that's
so I remember you. So Brian, you sent me a video a couple of weeks ago about Dinesh or Danish or muffin or whatever the hell breakfast pastry he wants to be called, about him being swatted.
yeah.
Now, and in that video he claimed that someone like called the SWAT team and sent them over to his house to kill him.
Hmm.
But obviously I have experience in that area. I was on a SWAT team at one point. The SWAT team just doesn't go out to anybody's house when someone call. You can't just call up the SWAT team and go, "Hey, Danish is he's doing whatever. You need to go take care of it." The SWAT team just doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like he sent these these, or he took these videos that he or these still photographs that he put in his videos of him talking to what looked like SWAT officers. So I'm wondering what the real reason is that SWAT team actually showed up at his house. Zach, for some reason you're not in my live anymore on TikTok.
Yeah, it just shut off for some reason. I think my phone's messed up.
Ooh.
Yeah. Or did you get live banned?
It's possible.
So
Yeah.
K4 is asking why you can't hear Brian. So Brian, as soon as we jumped on StreamYard to go live on YouTube and Facebook, Brian got a notification that he was banned on TikTok. And his backup account is banned from going live.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what's going on with Merch's.
Well, I told everyone
Merch's.
to come here. I just told everyone. People, it's confusing not having Brian's audio, so
Oh yeah.
I just told everyone to just come and.
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead and
okay.
YouTube.
So if you guys are on TikTok, yeah, I know you can't hear what's going on. So we can't stream from the same platform on YouTube and Facebook to TikTok. So if you're on TikTok and you want to see Brian as well and hear Brian, go over to Officer Nate either on YouTube or Facebook, and you'll be able to see and hear Brian as well.
Yeah.
But okay, so Brian, like, what was it like? Why did SWAT show up to his house? I'm confused.
So someone, and I know who it is. The
Yeah, I
person-
know. Did it? Well, Brian was accused of doing it. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was accused of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they found out later on who it was, and I've known for a while who it was. The person's name is Guilt. They're a hacker. I haven't released their name yet. Police are aware of it, but there's more stuff going on with that. But they know who it is now, and they still won't admit that it wasn't me. But Savannah and Dinesh, they both got swatted at the same time. They basically sent emails to people in like the city council that they were going to go on a killing spree, and they called both of them before they even went to their house. They said, "Hey, we're gonna come by," and then Dinesh acts like he was almost murdered. But of course, it's the whole the police are bad, police are gonna kill me, kind of thing because I'm a person of color, and it's like that's.
I'm gonna shut down my TikTok too, since I'm just like sitting here listening, and people are probably wondering why I'm just sitting here in silence. So, guys, either on Facebook or YouTube, go to Officer Nate. I'm with Official Daddy Merch and Brian Carlson from TikTok. I'm gonna shut this down, so you guys obviously can't hear them. So join us over on YouTube or Facebook.
yeah, we gotta start driving traffic there regardless. I can't handle TikTok anymore. It's too much. The
Yeah.
censorship.
It is.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah. But what I think is completely unfair is it's the openly acknowledging and accusing Brian of doing something without any proof, and then later on acknowledging that you don't know who did it. but not going back and saying, apologizing to Brian. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a complete disregard and a complete disregard for any type of truth or anything. That's not what it's about. And that's ultimately the problem that we're seeing across the board in every aspect of life with people that are of like mind. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It doesn't matter what facts are. They're going to say whatever they need to say to further their agenda, be it get famous or be it get rich or be it cheat on you. Whatever. It's the same concept.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you guys mentioned that there was somebody, and I don't know if you guys want to name names on here, but somebody called. But again, like I said, the SWAT team just doesn't go out for any random complaint. Like there has to be a threat of like imminent physical violence or danger to someone for the SWAT team to even show up at someone's house. So like what was that threat, or what was the call, or what, like how did they end up out there?
I mean,
Someone used email that sounded like them, basically saying it was them, and said they were going to go on a killing spree.
Okay.
Yeah, they were going to go. Yeah,
was it actually SWAT that was there?
No, SWAT didn't show up. It
Yeah.
was two officers politely knocking on their door and talking to them.
Yeah, the term swatted is an old term from Twitch. Back whenever the streaming service Twitch was popular, people would call fairly famous streamers. They would call SWAT on them, and the SWAT would bust through the door midstream, and that's where the term swatted came from. So when people say swatted, I mean, it didn't look like any type of SWAT busted through the door.
No, of course not. But Dinesh said, you have Savannah in the comments being like, if I wasn't a white woman, I would have been killed.
Yeah, right. Just listening to her voice, they would have shot her.
I know. Jeez. It's laughable, but they twist everyone's minds into thinking that they legitimately were in danger, and people are terrified for them, and then they get outraged, like, oh my god, and then of course they blamed me for it, right? So now I'm this person who almost got these two people killed, and then of course when it comes out that it wasn't me, because obviously it wasn't, and we know who it is, they there's no retraction. They don't ever want to admit they're wrong. It's pretty disgusting.
I mean, look at it like this. It's gotten to a point now where, and because everyone's watching this, and this doesn't necessarily, this isn't like targeted just to these specific people. I mean, it's the whole ideology of just gaining, saying whatever you want, and it becomes, it's truth. Like she accused you of raping your girlfriend, like when you're 18 or something, like yesterday.
Well, yeah.
With absolutely no proof.
Zero proof. Yeah, no, there's zero proof.
To a million people.
Yeah. And when I was 21, I'm 39 now, or 38.
Wait, I thought you were 24.
Yeah, 20. I'm sorry. Yeah, it changes depending on the. Yeah, but so to sit there and say that, like, if someone came up to me and said, Dinesh did this to me when I was 17, my first thing would be, go to the police. Don't even talk to me about that. Like, yeah. I don't want to hear that. Go to the police, and if they arrest him, then I'll talk about it. That's the difference. But she's saying to a million people this thing that I'm assuming she just made up. I don't know.
Does she have 1 million followers?
She's getting close.
Yeah, give or take.
God, yeah. I don't understand why. Like, how do people handle her strident voice and like just?
Well, she's just nasty beyond belief. But they also because I caught them buying followers I don't know if you remember that little whole.
I do.
Yeah,
I remember a video you doing on, or you sent me a message or something like that.
yeah. So I saw that she was buying followers, right? And I
How
went.
much is a follower? I'll buy some followers. Like, what does it cost for a follower these days?
I mean, you can go online. You can buy you can buy 1,000 followers for like 10, $15. I mean,
How do you do that? Like, is there a website like TikTok followers?
Yeah. Just Google TikTok.
You can
followers.
Google it. Yeah, we used to do that back in the day on YouTube with the toy stuff. That's how we get. That's how we get clout.
Yeah. Now we have
Man.
clout coins.
I'm learning so
Yeah.
much.
Oh yeah,
And then
it's,
I got
it's big
blamed
business.
I got blamed for them shutting down, and then apparently, I was the super computer genius that was programming bots into like.
Well, Brian, I'm pretty sure the crisis at the southern border is your fault too. So I mean, let's
Well, that's
don't
sort of blame Brian.
don't deny your responsibility and your accountability with all of these things that are happening. Okay, we all know that it's your fault.
Yeah.
War
Well,
in
Brian,
Ukraine.
Brian doesn't tell a good story. So the way what happened was
Tell us, Mark.
Brian made a video where he basically went down these people's follower list and started, saying like, hey, look, these are a bunch of just robot accounts, because it was like user 556 user, and did all that. And around that time, they were catching a bunch of heat from another creator named Patrick, because they one of them got married on a plantation, and it caused a big stir in the in Patrick's community. So while all that's going on, Brian made that video showing that a lot of their followers were bots. So then what they did was, to avoid saying like, oh, I can't take the heat coming from Patrick, I'm gonna like shut my account down for a few weeks. They basically showed Brian's video and said, look, Brian paid for a bunch of bots and they've been attacking us, so we're shutting our accounts down for a few weeks. Yeah. And it's like they didn't even use they just like used his video without like the audio. And it was like, because it was Brian zooming through a bunch of bot accounts, they tried to frame that as Brian was showing all of the bots that went report their accounts.
Man, they go through such painstaking efforts to try and vilify people. Also, I don't know if you saw the comment I highlighted. K4 says that global warming is Brian's fault too. So Brian, you need to like do something about that, because the left is up our ass about global warming. So
yeah, I mean, it goes without being said at this point, Brian Carlson is the only and biggest threat to our democracy.
Like everything bad begins and ends with Brian Carlson. It used to be Donald Trump, but now it's Brian Carlson.
That's a compliment, according to these people. I am Savannah's biggest enemy. I mean, it's hilarious. I still, to this day, I have had more videos done by me by Dinesh and Savannah than anyone else.
So,
well, for me, that's a sign that you're doing something
pinned.
right.
Yeah, he's pinned at the top. Man, I got a playlist, but my playlist is all the way at the back. Like Brian's video's pinned at the top.
Yeah.
That's a lot of exposure, man. Especially like
a lot of clout.
That's a lot of clout. That's a lot of clout. Brian's got a stream 24/7 of nonstop clout because his video's pinned to the top.
Yeah,
and that goes a long way, because what they don't realize at the end of the day, like. No one knew me on the app until they made a video about me. Like, I don't know if I'm not ashamed to say that. Like, they created all of these Frankenstein monsters that are now, laughing at them, and it's phenomenal to watch.
One thing that's been good about me though is like it's gotten so ridiculous, right? Like, I'm a sex trafficker. I have sex with chihuahuas. These are all things that have.
Yo, the Chihuahua thing stuck too. That's what's scary.
I know, and it got to this ridiculous point where people are like, "Well, wait a minute, why? Like, this guy has got to be either you're lying or this guy's like the worst, criminal in human history."
And which goes back to what I call it's the double spin. So they hit Brian, and then they spin it to say, this goes to show you that our system's corrupt because, you know, the straight white man never gets arrested. I mean, look at Brian Carlson. He rapes chihuahuas. He's not arrested. It's like, no, it's because you're making it up. You know, it's not the system. It's you're just making shit up.
Or you don't have evidence. You need the evidence. You got to be able to prove it.
Yeah.
So somewhere out there's a video of Brian Carlson raping a chihuahua that has yet to come to light.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have
And
a lot
I'm
of
sure if
apologies.
anybody can find it, it's Dinesh and Savannah.
Yeah. Well, and you know, where did we get into this time too, where you can have 1 million followers, you know, I mean, that's an entire state, you know what I mean? And
that's like I said in the video, that's 200,000 more people than the city of San Francisco.
you know, and then
Nevada has 900,000 people in the state of Nevada.
And frame something in a way, you know, that they're not trying to objectively find truth. They're trying to silence you, right? Like the video she just did on Merge, she obviously is trying to frame him in a certain light, right? Did she do any background check? Did she do any investigation? Did she hear any side of it? Or did she specifically pick out things to make it sound a certain way? You know what I mean? These people and her followers are so stupid that they just buy into it. There's no pragmatic thinking or any objectivity in anything that they do. So.
K4 said, "Glad y'all moved off TikTok. You'd be gone." I think that's true. Like my live would have been suspended probably about 10 minutes ago.
It's crazy. Because I'm like, I don't know what to say because I'm like, wait a minute. I can now go back to saying kind of whatever I want. And
I've never had on Instagram. Okay, I've had one video removed on Instagram, but it was literally reinstated like 30 seconds after I submitted an appeal. And the same thing with Facebook and YouTube. I've never had any of my content removed on any of those platforms. But I mean, TikTok they've taken down videos before they've even like finished reviewing them.
And you know, to be fair, a platform like TikTok, you need to be more strict than like Instagram because it can get there's no other platform like it. It's basically like Twitter is all about dunking on another person. That's what Twitter's about. It's toxic and it's all about, you know, dunking on this person, that person dunking back on you. Well, TikTok is essentially that, but you do it with videos. Yeah. And that can get dangerous because you can do a lot in a 60-second clip. And I've never seen, there's not a social media platform out there like TikTok that is as disgustingly toxic.
Well, you know, the fact that you can amass 1 million followers and then get these followers to do horrible things on your behalf. You know, they'll do a video and then these followers, you know, they'll find you. You know, I've gotten countless of death threats. I don't know if Merch has, but Misfit definitely has gotten plenty. Same with me. You know, they message my family. You know, they take it upon themselves, and that's a lot of power. And a lot of people think, well, it's just, I'm like, well, okay, there's a bigger problem here when these leftist people, right, these Marxist leftist people, can essentially amass as much power as they do, and then, you know, that's a huge issue. And then TikTok is not even following their own guidelines, their own community guidelines.
Which is going to become and that's going to be an issue for them coming up in the near future. But the bad part also about it is, see, like what happened with Brian and a bunch of other people. What they do is they go and they'll blackmail or they'll try and extort other people to try and give up anything on you, whether it be a lie or not. So like they tried to basically muscle my ex-wife into coming out and saying that I was abusive or something. And they did that whenever they reached out to my ex-wife. My ex-wife didn't say anything. She's like, I'm not dabbling in that internet, that dude's internet. Like, because I mean, who does honestly? But she has nothing bad to say about me. And then when she didn't respond, they started attacking her business page. Uh, and that's how they do it. So it's almost like, if I wasn't, if my ex-wife wasn't, for the most part, relying on a lot of my support, it would have been in her best interest to turn on me and make up whatever she wanted to. And because she's my ex-wife, she would hold a certain level of, she'd hold a certain, like, her words would mean stuff. If my ex-wife came out and started bashing me, and luckily that wasn't the case. But I mean, that's what happened to you, Brian.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Urban Dictionary term Brian Carlson. I mean, that's a real thing.
Exactly.
It really
No.
is.
See, that's impressive. That's what I call clout. I mean, if there's an Urban Dictionary term because of you, I mean, you've made it. You're done.
I started it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I basically create these terms and then talk about them a lot in a very funny way, and then they become a thing, and I put on Urban Dictionary. So like, do you have your computer? Go right now. Go to Urban Dictionary and search clout coin.
Yeah.
Seriously, go search clout coin, and it pulls up and it tells you what clout coin is. You gotta, that's what it's about. You gotta create a community.
Yeah. Are you familiar with what happened with Kingery? Do you know who Kingery is, Officer Nate?
I do. Yeah, he was actually. So the funny thing is, he was actually supposed to be on my podcast before all of that stuff went down with him. And then, like, I literally, I think he was in the midst of that. Like, he was, catching accusations and such. Yeah. And, we had to cancel our podcast episode. And then, like, I was seeing these videos of women accusing him of stuff. And then he disappeared. Like, he canceled his accounts on TikTok and Instagram. And so, I mean, I'm somewhat familiar with it. I know that he's back on TikTok now, and he's back on Instagram. And I'm hearing, things that these accusations were false, and but
yeah,
I mean, I don't know the whole story, but those are the things that I'm hearing, at least on TikTok.
What happens? Like I said, he got Brian Carlson. What happened was someone had an alternative motive to try and destroy him. So she comes out and she exaggerates a story, and then all of a sudden it's opens up a floodgate. So like, if that dude, like one girl came out and said, like, yeah, he hugged me one time and then he grabbed my butt, and she claimed how uncomfortable she was and all that. We'll come to find out, like, they were all drunk, and like that's like a normal thing that they do. But she framed it as this whole thing, and then she literally went file a police report and recorded herself filing the police report. And it was all just for attention. I mean, and that's how it works. And it's gonna get to a point where it can happen to anyone. Like, you started off by saying we're whatever TikTok creators. I'm a regular dude. Brian Carlson's a regular dude. I'm not. No one knows who I am, but yet all this can happen to you. It's scary. I mean, look what happened to you, Officer Nate.
Yeah, I got Brian Carlson before you coined that term in the Urban Dictionary. I didn't have anything to do with sexual assault or anything like that. Had to do with racism and police corruption and all that.
LeBron
other stuff.
James, Brian Carlson, you like that's next level, dog. Like, I don't know what we're talking about. Like, me and Brian's been through probably, I don't know, probably, I wouldn't say like the same amount of harassment that you went through, but I mean, we've been through some shit. And but at the end of the day, we can't open up like there's not as much support there. Like, we don't get mainstream support like you did. So,
well, I got lucky. I feel like the stars or the planets aligned when I did that video. And it's funny because I posted some clips of when I did an interview with Glenn Beck shortly after that LeBron James video went viral. Glenn Beck had me on his show, and when he talked about the GoFundMe that was created that amassed to $500,000. But then, and it wasn't just about the GoFundMe and all the money that was raised. It was about, like, literally the tens of thousands of emails and text messages and phone calls from people, not just in the United States, but all over the world, saying, bro, we love your video. We love your message. Don't let them silence you. Keep going. Keep creating videos. We need your voice. We need we need people like you to stand up for, at that time it was just all about police and, defending the police. And, if it was literally like just a fluke thing. Like, I don't know. You can't recreate that. You can't
No.
duplicate that if you tried.
Like, no. It's gotta, because it's gotta get picked up early on, and it's got to be picked up by certain semi-mainstream audiences, and then from there it basically it becomes organic and it spreads, and it happens. I mean, it's instant. It happens like that.
Well,
and
it was so
all it
obvious.
takes is one person. All it takes is
You know.
one outlet, one Twitter. Like I've always said, like, give me 20 minutes with a producer from the Daily Wire, and I'll give them their greatest fucking series ever. But that's all, that's all it takes, because they don't know all this is going on. They don't know, like, so like Libs at TikTok, the Libs at TikTok account that got doxxed like last week. She basically watches all of our videos to know who to go look at. So like she covered My Dude the other day. And you know My Dude, Brian, I'm sure.
It was completely full of shit, by the way.
Yeah. Like I went toe to toe with that dude in the trenches, and then essentially she gets all the glory, but that's why we do it, I guess. But but like it's all connected. It's fascinating to watch, because I saw like a lot of like big name people that I follow on Twitter were commenting. I was like, that's my dude. That's the dude that doxed me on a live stream one time and said he wanted to throw hands with me. And then he started crying like a little bitch because he thought I was talking about him.
Well, that's what they do. They cry and they play the victim. Well, what was his deal that something went viral that he did?
Oh yeah, talking about Twitter and how like Twitter, like it's when Elon bought Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And he went into this whole thing about how it's going to become a right-wing thing, and that like if we don't stop this now, it's going to only get worse, and the whole it's just it's CNN mothership propaganda. So CNN feeds their propaganda to smaller ships, and those smaller ships pick it up, and then they feed it to smaller ships, and then that's how it spreads.
What I think is hilarious is that you're going to cry and bitch and moan about how your opposition is no longer going to be censored. Like if you don't have an original enough thought or substance behind your argument, that you need your opposition to be silenced in order for your argument or assertion to be the only one out there, so that you're the only one that people are listening to, then obviously you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. But that's a go-to. I mean, look at these people. Merch just got doxxed by Savannah, or because he was talking about ivermectin. All right, like he just brought it up, and now did Savannah make any point about ivermectin? No, she went straight to a personal attack, doxing, and that's what they do. Like, they don't ever argue on the point, because they don't. Honestly, let's be honest, they don't have a good logical way to defend what their point is, because it's so ridiculous. And I think what happened with you, Nate, was so interesting, because it was so clearly not racist, that video. It was so clearly not racist that anybody with common sense could see that had zero to do with that. Yet you had these people that hated it because it was so funny and so effective, right? It was basically about a NBA player commenting on how to do police work.
It was right.
Like, he doesn't know. Like, he shouldn't be commenting on how to police, because he doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. He
caught out the obvious, and
yeah. And then these leftist creators come after you, and what happened to you is one of those things that kind of started waking me up to it, and then of course what happened to Misfit, and like how they kind of behaved. And I think it opened a lot of people's eyes too, and so I don't know.
Yeah, well, and then so what they do, if you've beat them, let's say, if you've beat them, quote unquote, right? They have no argument left to come back with. Then, like you said, like Savannah does, they come in with the personal attacks and the insults. You're a racist. You're a bigot. You're a racist. You're a rapist.
Misogynist.
Yeah, misogynist, sexist, whatever, to try and discredit you. But yeah, you're right. That's exactly what happened. There was nothing racist about my video. I thought, it was, I tried to make it funny, and I tried to convey a message at the exact same time. And apparently it worked. I had half the country coming after me, wanting to kill me. And then the other half going, go Nate, way to
Yeah.
go. So I mean, you're always gonna if you're saying the right things, you're always going to have critics.
Yeah.
So, and if people are trying to
Absolutely.
cancel you, you're doing the right thing.
Well, yeah,
And
I love the saying, "Judge me by my enemies, not by my friends." And having Savannah or Aunt Karen or Tizzy as an enemy, I think you're doing a pretty good job. So,
yeah, no, that's actually a good point.
yeah.
And then it gets to a certain point where they lose power, because how many times can you be called bad names? Like, at this point, there's nothing that they can say about Brian or me or anything. It's like that hasn't already been said. I mean,
Yeah. They called me a Chihuahua fucker. I mean,
Yeah,
where do you
that's-
go from there?
that's low. But going back to my dude, it reminded me, because I meant to put a video out, because this whole thing that went viral on like Live to TikTok. In his video, he was talking about how now, people are going to start weaponizing the internet and weaponizing their followers. And it's like, I literally have a video of that dude telling 400,000 people to tag me in his video and insult me. And I got tagged about 800 times in a matter of like 20 minutes. And I took screenshots. Dude, it was bad. And I was like, how hypocritical is that? And it makes you question, like, do they know and see it and they're purposefully just lying, or are they that oblivious to their own actions?
I think they know. I think they know exactly what they're doing, and they're lying about it. I mean, you've got some people, like, the people that aren't in the limelight, the people that aren't mainstream, that are like, oh yeah, that's it. They follow along. They're the sheep. But then there are the people like CNN anchors and elected politicians who know exactly the lie that they're telling. They know they're telling lies, but they know they need to tell that lie in order to salvage their voter base as much as they possibly can for things like midterm elections. So
Yeah.
they're willing to tell those lies. I mean, it's not like the like censorship had just started because Elon Musk purchased Twitter. I mean, that didn't just, and it doesn't even have full ownership of it as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't even have full control yet. But already they're starting with the narrative that democracy is under attack, and your voice isn't going to be heard unless you're a conservative account or you're right wing. And even Elon Musk himself said, "Listen, I'm not going to remove my harshest critics, and I hope they keep their Twitter accounts, because that's what free speech is about. There's going to be opposition, there's going to be disagreement, but that is free speech. And if you're uncomfortable with something that somebody says, that's your fault. If you're offended by something that somebody says, that's your fault. But it's about the free flowing of ideas, trading ideas. That's how we got to where we are as a civilization."
Exactly.
I mean,
And that's important.
right?
You need
It's your
challenge.
fault. Taking personal responsibility if you're the one that's getting offended. Like,
Yes.
like, and that's exactly it. It's like, if the way they're thinking is, if I'm offended, it's your fault. You need to be paid. You need, I need to silence you, because words are now the equivalent of violence, according to these people. Yeah. And once you've equated words to violence, then you are justified in any means to respond, and it doesn't matter what you do need to do to silence that person. Like if you are attacked physically on the street, right? You can do anything that you need to do to stop that attacker. Yeah. But that's exactly the thing it is.
I mean, you got to put it this way, and they fail to understand the actual reason behind it. Like, everyone can agree. Like, I would love to live in a world where people aren't mean or people aren't offending you. I would love that, but we don't live in that world. And if you were to take our society right now and go back 70 years, we would live in a world right now that's ran by a little dude with a weird mustache. You think that back in what, 41, 42, 18-year-old kids stormed a beach and had machine guns being fired at them. Yeah. And they did that because this crazy lunatic was spreading his crazy ideology across all of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize it. The average age was on Omaha was like 18 years old, 19.
Yeah.
That's insane. Getting shot at.
Yep.
You think
Yeah.
people would do that now? And that's
Oh,
but
hell
that's
no.
what, hell no. And that's what it took. That's what it took because back then, I mean, Nazi Germany, they took over France in a matter of like 4 weeks. They were steamrolling through everyone.
Well, I don't know if do you guys follow Jordan Peterson at all? You follow his
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure you guys have probably seen the video where he was being interviewed by that British woman, and they were talking about sort of his refusal to be compelled to use certain speech as far as transgender people go in their pronouns. And she asked him the specific question: why should your free speech trump that person's right to not be offended? And it's like, okay, so let's go with that. If you start limiting and hindering free speech based on people who get offended, then pretty soon nobody's going to be able to say anything at all, because somebody is going to be offended about something as innocuous as, well, I prefer Snickers over Butterfinger. Oh, you can't say that. I love Snickers. Or I love Butterfinger. How could you possibly prefer Snickers over Butterfinger? You're not allowed to say that because that offends me. So pretty soon nobody's allowed to say anything.
Well, it depends on who you are, right? If you're a white cis male, right, that's very different. Like it's about who gets offended and who doesn't.
But at the end of the day, Brian, all of that goes out the window after a certain amount of time because the bar will continuously be lowered to a point where it can't go any lower. It's like being in a bad relationship. Like if you're in a relationship with a bad toxic ex-girlfriend or toxic ex-boyfriend, and they're sitting there saying like, "Oh, you're not doing enough. I need you to do this," and when you do it, it's still not enough, and then they lower it, and then when you do it, next thing you know, you're doing everything, and they're not doing anything, and then they're cheating on you, and they're justifying that by saying, "Well, I cheated on you because of that," and it constantly gets lowered to a point where it's unsustainable.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. Like, and like TikTok is very biased, and it's frustrating, right? If you are even moderate on TikTok, you get banned. Where Savannah can get online and call me an inbred cousin fucker, right? Or did you say that to Misfit? I can't remember.
No,
that's one.
Yeah,
and you report it, and it's not a violation of community guidelines, right?
No violation, right? But if you just do a video where you're not calling her any names at all, you're just responding to it, that will get banned.
Yeah. Well, that's been the frustrating part for me on TikTok is that I've over the last year, it's been just over a year since the LeBron James TikTok went viral, and I've been called everything. I've been threatened in every single way, whether it's through TikTok videos or emails or text messages or whatever. And the second I respond to a threat or, some sort of derogatory video about me, my video gets banned, their video remains. Mm-hmm. And that's the most frustrating part about TikTok. Yeah. It's like, why won't you at least allow me to defend myself? Like, give me that much,
And also the bad part about that too is they'll turn around and then they'll use that as a way of validating their opinion. Well, if you are right, then you wouldn't get banned. If your opinion was right, then you wouldn't get banned. If what you're saying was correct, then Twitter wouldn't take you down. And the stuff on TikTok that we deal with, it's all scaled. So we deal with it on a local level. Look at it like that, and but it's the same issue, the same underlying issues that stretch all the way up to the top, be it on TikTok or even from like your friend who might be left leaning or radical left. It's the same thing. You can go on Facebook right now and if you say something that goes against the narrative, you're gonna get flagged for it, and then your friends are gonna tell you that you're wrong because Facebook flagged you.
Oh yeah. Well, remember that whole what was that? When we were talking about COVID and they were talking about how it could come from a lab or whatnot. These things were getting censored, and what could you couldn't talk about it anywhere. What's his name? The biologist, I can't remember, the one that had his university all cancel culture. I can't remember, but he was getting banned off of YouTube for even talking about ivermectin or other things like that. And then it turns out that what he was saying was all right. But
Yeah.
Well, and
So
that's why this disinformation governance board with the Department of Homeland Security is such a huge deal.
yeah,
Nobody. I don't care if you're a CEO, if you're a senator, if you're the Secretary of Defense. You don't get to tell me what information is appropriate for me to consume. You give me all of the information that is available, and I'll make my own choices. I'll reach out to people that I trust to validate the information, to vet the information, and then I'll make decisions. But you don't get to filter the information out that you want me to hear, so that I can make the decisions that you want me to make.
yeah.
That's not free speech. That's not democracy. That's not how we do it in America.
And it's not even. I mean, the overall goal here, it's not even to just be able to say whatever you want. It goes way beyond that. You need discourse. You need people to disagree. You need disinformation out there so that people can know to think critically. So that that's how civilizations flourish. That's how you evolve. Like if everyone is just sitting and it doesn't work that way. You don't grow. You stay stagnant. If you're not moving forward, then you might as well be moving backwards.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's like with the LeBron James video, instead of having a productive conversation on policing, right, that could have happened and it could have occurred, all right, that Aunt Karen and Tizzy, they could have actually participated in, and it would have progressed things, substantially. What do? They label you a racist
Mm-hmm.
and try to silence you because it doesn't fit their narrative perfectly. When they could have engaged with you, and it would have been such a productive, helpful thing for our society. But
Yeah, I'll have a conversation with anybody. Like
yeah,
I'll go on a dual live with anybody on TikTok and talk about any one of these issues in a civil way. I'm not pretending that I know it all. I'm not pretending to be an expert. But obviously, I can see the censorship. I have observation skills.
yeah,
I know that certain information is being withheld, just like like on Twitter during the 2020 election, the Hunter Biden laptop story was shut down. Kayleigh McEnany's account was shut down. Trump was shut down. His whole team was shut down off of Twitter, and that had an effect on the outcome of the election.
10%. I think it was 10 or 15% of people that voted for Joe Biden said that they wouldn't have if they would have known about the Hunter Biden story.
Yeah,
wow,
That we're,
that's
we're living.
huge.
Yeah, I mean that changes the election. We're living in a different world right now. That's how
Yeah.
So no, it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, we've been at this for about an hour. So, real quick, because because the funny thing is, I see a little bit of division with like followers on Instagram, especially people who are leery, a little bit suspicious of Elon Musk. Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, is it good? What do you guys think?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, anyone that's going into the whole, oh, he's one of the guys. He's part of like the whole deep state, whatever you want to call it. That's conspiracy shit. I've said it from even in 2012. I was like, if I would invest in somebody to bring us into the future, it would be him. And that was back in 2012, whenever Tesla was just taking off.
Yeah.
He's going to be the revolutionary guy that's going to lead us into if we actually make it out of this whatever shit the age of information. If we make it out of that, it's going to be Elon to lead us. Now, whether or not he turns rogue,
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
know.
mistake for
I mean,
Trump not to get back on Twitter, though. I'll say that Trump needs to get back on Twitter.
I think Elon, and I've never heard him really specifically indicate in any way whether he's left leaning or right leaning. I know that he cares about free speech, obviously.
Oh, he's definitely
But
left leaning. I mean, he's more left leaning than right.
but
You
the
think so?
guy's a genius, and I think you're right, Merch. Like he's revolutionizing technology, the way we're going to travel, the way we're going to communicate. And I think it's good. But I think, I said this in maybe it was one of my lives on TikTok, is that had it not been for free speech, right? And again, like you brought up earlier, Merch, it's not just about saying whatever the hell you want to say, but we've gotten to a point in civilization where we are now is because free speech has not been limited. We've been able to share ideas. We've been able to teach each other. We've been able to learn from each other because those things have not been censored and they've not been stifled and they've not been hidden or been kept a secret or completely canceled. We have people like Elon Musk because of free speech, because he was able to go and learn and study and do all the
Yeah.
things that he was capable of doing, and he wants to share that with the world. And that's why free speech is important. It's not me being able to say whatever I want on Twitter. It's because of things like that make America and the world a better place.
Yeah, I mean, look at where we were prior to World War II, whenever America wasn't the leading power. We weren't progressing. Then America, gets shit rich off of the war, and then all of a sudden, the entire world it still benefits from it. The amount of money we send to everyone, and the thing with Elon, I trust the guy, and he basically makes it. He basically was saying is he's going to just leave it alone. He's going to fix it, then leave it alone. He's not in the game to censor people and shit. Also, word on the street, and I know a little bit because I got some plans in for a substation. He's going to start. He's basically going to start competing with Apple. He's going to start building a phone. I'm like 90% sure.
Well, that would be interesting, and that's what we need, right? We need competitors. We need people coming up with new, innovative, products that are more efficient or whatever. And that's free speech. That's the free flow of information, and I think that's important. Real quick, so Brian, where can people find you? What's your TikTok handle? What's your Instagram handle?
Brian Carlson 4 is my TikTok at Brian _Carlson 4. As my only TikTok left. So.
Merch. What about you? Where can the folks find you?
You just Google me.
Just good, and you're all over the place. It's like
you'll find something.
Like the most handsome man in the world is right there.
Yeah, if you Google most brilliant person that no one knows about, I'll come up. No, go Instagram.
Okay. All right. I mean, these guys, so Brian and Zach, they both make really good content. They're both good dudes. Search them out, follow them, guys. Hang out for just a second while I end this broadcast. Thanks everybody in the chat for participating. The comments, the questions were awesome.